With pure fentanyl, it'll be enough to kill 500 people. This year, the DEA seized a record over 50 million fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills. That's more than double last year, and nearly 11,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. We visited the DEA Northeast Drug Lab this morning. Forensic chemists there say fentanyl is the #1 substance they are handling every single day. It's primarily in fake pills, counterfeit versions of popular oxycodone, Percocet, and Xanax, but traces of fentanyl is now found in virtually everything, including cocaine. The deadly fentanyl primarily originates in China, but also in India. The blue lines represent fentanyl powder and production equipment. The red lines represent chemical ingredients or precursors needed to make fentanyl. Most of it goes to Mexico, where the Sinaloa and the Jalisco New Generation cartels are manufacturing fentanyl-laced pills, which are smuggled across the border every day illegally and sold here in the U.S.
Wait a minute. Let me look. There's just a couple more seconds to this story, or to this clip. Fox News is reporting on this data. Look at that. Let me make a full screen. Look at that. They know exactly where the fentanyl is coming from. Look at that. They see exactly where it's coming from. They see it's coming from China. They see it's coming from India. They're tracking it. And the federal government does nothing to stop it. What in the world is going on? What is happening here? I mean, Fox News has this data. Or should we believe that Fox News is putting out misleading information and not factual information? Should we believe that this is what Fox News is doing? I don't think so. Why would they put out this information? And this is as of 2019. This is about to be 2023. They've had this data since 2019. Since 2019, they've been sending these drugs to kill off the American people, the American population, and the federal government does nothing. Does nothing. Look at this. Come on. This is beyond stupid, let alone ridiculous. And this is happening? What about our children? He showed that little packet of sugar could kill up to what, 500 people? Just that little packet? 5,000 people? Really? 500 people, they kill them? And they have enough, they've already apprehended enough fentanyl to kill every single American twice. Twice. And the federal government does nothing. But you know what's important to the federal government? Trump's tax returns. That's what's important to them. Not stopping the fentanyl that's coming in is killing our American brothers and sisters. That's not the issue. That's not the issue. But President Trump's tax returns, that's the issue.
The production labs are not being met with any resistance. They're operating with impunity in Mexico. The Mexican government is not going after the labs.
The DEA launched the Faces of Fentanyl campaign to honor victims of fentanyl poisonings, which is now the #1 cause of death for young Americans. A record more than 107,000 Americans died of drug overdoses in a year, most from fentanyl poisonings. We've talked about this all the time. The DEA, Sandra says, 6 out of every 10 fake pills on the street has a lethal dose of fentanyl this year. It's the deadliest that's ever been.
Just the deadliest. And what are they doing about it? Why is Will Johnson even able to talk about the fentanyl that's killing Americans in this country and they're not doing anything about it? But the FBI, what is the FBI doing? They have this data. They know where it's coming in. They know who's producing it. They know China's doing it. They know India's doing it. And there's a lot of people here from India. And I'm not saying that people from India are partaking in it, but it's coming from India. And India is supposed to be an ally. Are they? Right? They're supposed to be. China, we know that China. We know that China wants to destroy America, and they know it's coming. Beijing Biden, China Joe says no, do nothing about it. Nothing. But their concern is President Trump's tax returns. That's what they're concerned about. They're concerned about President Trump's tax returns, and they're concerned about preventing Republicans from doing their job when they take the gavel in January. That's their concern. Now, you remember this. Let me share this one with you. This is what Karine Jean-Pierre literally said, that anyone who says that the border is open is putting out misinformation for the smugglers. That's what she said. She said this. Now, I'm going to play this. I played this for you the other day. I'm going to play it one more time for you because I have something else I want to share for you where I guess the liberal media did not get the memo. Listen to this.
One of the reasons that I want to be very clear that to folks that the border is not open and we will remove using Title VIII is because by not being very clear on that, we are doing the work of the smugglers who are going to put forth misinformation. So we want to be very clear on that piece.
You hear that? She's saying you're doing the work of the smugglers, putting out misinformation by saying that that they're coming across and the border's open. Y'all just heard it, right? Do I need to play it for you again? I don't think so. She just said it. Now, apparently, MSSTD did not get the memo. Listen to what they say here on MSSTD. Listen to this, because this was recent. Karine Jean-Pierre just said it the other day that they're putting out misinformation if they say the border's open. You can't make this stuff up.
We were even able to see, as of last night, a lot of migrants just crossing, and migrants I spoke to this morning saying they haven't had any interaction with U.S. immigration authorities. They just walked right in.
They just walked right in. Now, this is MSLSD or MSSTD. This is them saying it. This is Biden's personal network campaign organization literally saying that the border is wide open. So I'm assuming they didn't get it. And see, the only reason why MSSTD is even at the border because Mayorkas went down there. Because see, before then, not a single one of them would ever go down there and report on it. But Mayorkas showed up, and now all of a sudden you got pockets of liberal media showing up, showing what's on the border. And this reporter here actually called it out for what it is. Talked to one of them. They just walked across the border like nothing was happening. Like it was all kosher. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just fine. But Karine Jean-Pierre said that this is misinformation. I've been down to the border multiple times and the people just walk across. There's nothing stopping the people coming. Nothing. The federal government is helping these people come across. And then when they come across, they don't even know who they are, what their intentions are. And, with Title 42, I haven't even heard as of yet. And I haven't even looked it up, to be honest with you. Title 42 is supposed to be lifted today. But, Supreme Court judge said, nope, you're not going to lift it. But it doesn't even matter, right, if it's there or not. I think at this point it's just symbolic because the Biden regime, the Democrats, they have ignored it anyways. And they've told the NGOs, I'm telling you, this is my opinion on it. They told the NGOs, just don't say you're from the countries that's listed on Title 42. Say you're from every other country but those. They're coaching these people on what to say when they come to the southern border. We all know it to be true. But see, the Democrats know good and well that they don't want to prevent the people from coming. And on top of that, they have the Omnibus bill. I'm just going to talk about this briefly. The Omnibus bill. The Omnibus bill, they're not doing anything to stop what's happening on our southern border because they want it to happen. They want it to happen. Did you know in the Omnibus bill that they actually put funding in there to protect other nations' borders? How is that even possible? They put money in there to protect other nations' borders while the United States borders are right now on the planet are the most chaotic, the most crisis border on the planet. And they're putting money in for other nation borders. Listen to Kennedy as he's talking about the Omnibus bill and what's in it.
Do we know what's in the bill? It's 4,200 pages, give or take. Is this another instance of we'll find out after we pass it? That's no way to do things. How does it keep happening?
Yes, we don't know what's in it, and yes, we'll have to find out later. My staff we are going through it right now, but it's 4,000 pages. There was reporting last night, for example, that the bill contains, I think, $400 million to help Jordan, the country of Jordan, secure its border. One could marshal a pretty persuasive argument that that's a pretty dumb thing to do.
It is. It's a pretty dumb thing to do. It's a dumb thing to do. Why is the United States of America funding any other nation, period? Now, if nations come to us and ask us for help, then it needs to be the American people agree, because it's our tax dollars. They hired 87,000 IRS agents, armed IRS agents to come after us to fund whatever war they want to take us in, to fund whatever wokeism that they're pushing, whatever wokeism agenda that they're pushing. They're taxing us to death when they said that they weren't going to do that. Remember, Joe Biden said anyone making less than $400,000 a year, you will not see a penny increase. That's a total lie. What do you think 87,000 armed IRS agents for? And they also put money in this bill for these armed IRS agents. So they need to be able to go ahead and start paying them so they can go out and start collecting money at gunpoint, at you, in your face. How disturbing is this? This is highly disturbing. See, back in Nazi Germany, what they did is they created the brown shirts to go out and attack people. In this case, they use an organization that's already in play. Obama started it. Biden is just picking up where they left off. But now they have armed IRS agents to literally shoot you because of $600. And they're about to blow $1.7 trillion. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Let me change it up here. Now, you've all been listening and we've all been aware about what's been happening with the Twitter files and how, the Twitter has been, exposing what the FBI has been doing. Now, the FBI has put out a statement. The FBI put out a statement in saying that it is a conspiracy theory to have someone believe is something. You know what? Let me just read it to you verbatim here. I was going to put up on the screen here. And let me just read it to you here. Actually, you know what? Give me a second. Let me see. I think I might have it here. If I have it, I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. Oh, yeah. Look, I do have it right here. Look at this. Look at this. And then I'm going to share something with you. Okay. Let me just put it up on the screen so you can see it. We'll do it full screen here. This is the statement from the FBI. It is unfortunate that conspiracy theorists and others are feeding the American public misinformation with the sole purpose of attempting to discredit the agency. This is apparently an official statement. It was on Fox News, an official statement from the FBI. Now, of course, the FBI, they're just trying to cover their tracks. Are they saying that the information that Elon Musk is releasing on Twitter is fraudulent? What about the whistleblowers? What about the 14 whistleblowers that went to Jim Jordan alone? What about the other whistleblowers that have gone to members of Congress? What about them? Are they saying that the whistleblowers from the FBI, they're lying as well? Why would Elon Musk buy a Twitter company, a social media company, and just make up documents and put them on Twitter? Someone please explain that one to me. Please explain it to me. If he was actually putting out fraudulent information, don't you think the FBI would say, wait a minute, you're actually putting out disinformation. You're putting out information that could jeopardize the organization, the fraudulent, in my opinion, organization of the FBI. Why haven't they raided Twitter, right? Think about it. They could literally say that, well, this is a criminal case, but see, they're not even saying that. They're just trying to get ahead of it and trying to say it's disinformation. And I'm willing to bet the fake fact checkers are saying, well, the FBI put out a official statement saying that this is just a conspiracy theory. So anyone who actually says that the FBI did any fraudulent doing and going to the social media tech companies puts out a conspiracy theory. So I guess Mark Zuckerberg going on Joe Rogan is a conspiracy theory now. I saw the video. You saw the video. Mark Zuckerberg said it on Joe Rogan. So who put out this statement from the FBI? Who put this out here? Should we actually believe what they're saying here? I don't think so. I think the cat is out the bag. And I'm just waiting because, they put this information out there, and they put out the information that the FBI was paying Twitter $3.4 million to censor the American people. $3.4 million. Can you make it make sense? And now they put out a statement like this. Leave me a comment. Leave me a comment. Who believes what the FBI is saying in here that it's, it's just all made up? Who believes that? I want to know. Maybe I'll do another poll. Maybe, I'll do another poll. Do you think the FBI is telling the truth? Listen to this. Listen to this.
So, as we mentioned at the top, we have discovered that the FBI paid Twitter $3.5 million in compensation for the time Twitter employees spent basically doing the bidding of the FBI, which ended up in stories that were true, like the Hunter Biden laptop in the New York Post, getting censored.
Well, we know this now as a result of the Elon Musk Twitter purchase. That big question now is, and he said the other day that other social media companies were also involved in getting paid to help censor information. Let's not forget that this is not just something that happened with the Hunter Biden laptop. This also happened with the COVID-19 pandemic. This happened with the Afghanistan withdrawal. Don't know if Facebook was paid to do this, but there are emails between Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Dr. Anthony Fauci early on about suppressing the lab leak theory, which Facebook kept off and censored off of their platform for a year until they decided that, actually, this may be true. We're going to stop censoring that story. In terms of what Congress can do moving forward, there's a lot of talk about regulating big tech. But the real issue here is regulating the government interacting with big tech to censor Americans, to go around the First Amendment, to use private companies to do something that the government can't do under the Constitution. So regulating money going to big tech to help censor information they don't like, making sure that the FBI and DHS understand that they're not supposed to use private industry to take narratives off their platforms that are coming from Americans. Originally this was an idea about disinformation coming in from the outside of the country, right? But it's turned into censoring ideas from American political folks who have opinions that they don't like.
Yeah. And you know what? I've experienced that myself. You've experienced it too. People have, talked about different things. You can just have a discussion about it. Just a discussion. This is something not looking right? This is not looking right. The FBI, they've already proven that the FBI was at Twitter. Elon Musk fired one of them that was hiding information. Come on. So at what point does it become a conspiracy theory? I mean, I'm just really want to know. So I did put a poll out there. And if you want to partake in the poll, I'm really interested. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Do you think the FBI is telling the truth? Yes or no? Yes or no? And think about this. If you or if the FBI approached us and we lied to the FBI, what would happen to us? We'll go to prison. They'll put you in prison for a small, tiny lie. Or even if they ask you a question and they trick you in it and you say one thing, like you say, this is a cup. But if you leave out some details saying that there's a W on the cup, and if you leave out detail that there's nothing in the cup, they'll take that as lying and they'll put you in jail. They've done it before. They've entrapped so many people. It's ridiculous. Same thing over and over. Now, the interesting thing about this clip here, and the reason why I didn't start off with this tonight is because what they're getting ready to say here, it wasn't just Twitter. And I'm pretty sure it was like, well, of course not, Will. We already all know this. It's no brainer. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg said on Joe Rogan that they approached him. They didn't approach him. He said, well, they didn't approach me. They actually approached people at Facebook. And come to find out, there was 150 people working at Facebook that's in the FBI. So again, I asked the question, what part is considered conspiracy theory? I mean, I'd like for them to go into detail. And I would like for, it would be nice if an FBI spokesman came out and said, well, XYZ is what we're talking about. But they don't do that. It's like they put out the statement and now it's Christmas, so everyone's going to disappear so you don't get a statement. That's what it looks like. Listen to the rest of this.
For how widespread it is, according to the House Judiciary Committee, it includes Twitter, Apple, Meta, which is Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. There may be others out there as well. Jim Jordan has put all of these companies on notice that come the beginning of January, he's going to be looking for some explanations from all of them and probably haul them before his committee.
And you know what? That brings me to another question. Like with this omnibus bill that we've been talking about, the Democrats they're very conniving, and they've been working on how to hinder the Republicans from finding out the truth. Because like Ted Lieu, I'm pretty sure he has vested interest in people being blocked on social media. They're wanting to block people on social media. They're wanting to block conservatives, Christians on social media because they don't want us to have a voice. The same thing they did in Nazi Germany. They call people on the right Nazis, but they're the ones actually doing all of that. They're the ones doing the same policies they did. They're wanting to silence people. And then they go, well, but Will, you're trying to remove books out of schools. You're supporting that. I sure am. When you're sexualizing kids, those books don't need to be in schools. You shouldn't take when I was younger, I went to a grocery store and they had this book. What was it called? I can't even remember. It was like a book and it had women in it, right? You know, it's like it was like a biker book. I can't even remember. It was a magazine. You know, being a kid, we go in there and oh, look at this until they put it behind the counter. The point is that they never would put those books in schools. You know, you had to go sneak to a little grocery store back in the day. This was over 20 years ago, right? You have to go back in the day and, you know, act like you're looking at other magazines. Well, now they want to have them in the back of the store. They just want to put them on the bookshelf at schools. And they're not even just talking about sex between a man and a woman. They're talking about sex between a man and a man. And they're wanting to give you graphic detail on how that's supposed to take place in the schools. That should not be in the schools. That should not be in the schools. If you're an adult, you want to go to the store and pick you up one of those books and go to the store and pick it up. But see, they don't do it anymore. They go on the internet. The sick part is that they're pushing this crap on the kids in schools. It should not be the kids in schools. And I'm not going to be like, oh, well, they need to be educated and learn about it. No. The answer is no. No and no. All right, let's change stories before I blow a gasket here. Listen to this dude. Y'all know Zelenskyy showed up, right? Zelenskyy showed up. And if you ask me, Zelenskyy showed up demanding money. Where's my money, Biden? Where's my money, Joe? Where's my money? Joe? Replace the J with an H. Where's my money, Joe? Where's it at? Huh, Joe? Where's my money? Where's my money? It's Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Where's my money? Right? Where's my money, Joe? Listen to what he says, because he's talking about Zelenskyy, and he's talking about United States of America. Like all of us are behind this thing that's happening in Ukraine. Now, look, I don't ever advocate for violence. What's happening in Ukraine is terrible, but the war would have been over with a long time ago, and there would have been a lot less loss of life had the United States of America never got into a proxy war with Russia. And they want to continue this proxy war. Listen to this dude.
Because we understand in our bones that Ukraine's fight is part of something much bigger. The American people know that if we stand by in the face of such blatant attacks on liberty and democracy and the core principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity, the world would surely face worse consequences. As I said, when Putin rolled his tanks into Ukraine in February, American people are prepared to have us stand up to bullies, stand up for freedom. That's who we are as Americans. And that's exactly what we've done. Even before the invasion began and Putin threatened Ukraine by building up his forces, we helped make sure Ukraine would be prepared to defend itself, even before they crossed into Ukraine.
But you know what? They would have never done it had President Trump been there. Would have never happened. Would have never happened. So, of course, he shows up and they sit down and they get cuddly together. And I mean, so does this mean that we're going to go to war with Russia full on? I think because we're not, it's part of NATO. It's not happening. So why did Zelenskyy show up? Did he show up because the money's not getting to him quick enough? I want my money. Where's my money, Joe?
Let's go live to the White House. Sorry, not live. Happened a moment ago. We just turned the sound. We're going to go to the new video inside the White House with the two world leaders. Let's listen.
So everyone's in.
And what does he have on? What is he wearing? Is he like on the battlefield here too? Look at that.
Well, Mr. President, it's good to have you back. I'm delighted you're able to make the trip to be here, and it's an honor to be by your side in the united defense against what is a brutal war being waged by Putin. 300 days. Hard to believe. 300 days. We're going through this, and Putin's waged a brutal assault on the Ukraine's right to exist as a nation, and the attack on innocent Ukrainian people for no reason other than to intimidate. And he's escalated his assault on civilians after hitting schools, orphanages, hospitals, landmarks. He's trying to use winter as a weapon. But the Ukrainian people continue to inspire the world. I mean that sincerely. Not just inspire us, but inspire the world with their courage and how they have chose the resilience and resolve for their future. And the American people have stood proudly with them, Democrats and Republicans, together with our allies in Europe, Japan, and other places, to make sure you have the financial, humanitarian, and security assistance that.
All of this is a total joke. So now he's sitting there saying that we're going to give you more money. And that's what I'm telling you. That's the only reason why Zelensky's here. He wants more money. Give me more tanks. Give me more military personnel equipment. Give me more money. Give me. We're never getting that back. We're paying for this war, and we're never going to get that money back. Nothing. There's nothing in Ukraine that's going to actually, bring back dividends. Nothing. And again, if we had never got involved, then there would have been a lot less of loss of life there. But they don't care about life. They want to do just the opposite. Listen to this, because now they're on there talking about how they're literally basically admitting that we're in a proxy war with Russia. And as long as America is America, we're going to keep funneling money to Ukraine. I mean, what in the world?
It's difficult to put a date on the calendar and say, okay, this is where it ends, because we just don't know. And the two leaders talked about that today. It's hard to know how and when this war is going to end. But we want to make sure that if and when it comes to a negotiated settlement, if Mr. Zelenskyy finds himself at the table across from Vladimir Putin, negotiating a diplomatic end, that he can do it with the strength that he needs and the leverage he needs. And that's why we're going to make sure that his military can continue to succeed on the battlefield. And that was the point the president was making tonight. So it's difficult to know exactly how long. But when he says as long as it takes, the president means that. I would just add a couple of points there, though, on the Republican concerns that you mentioned. And clearly, they've made that known publicly. I would say that we need to appreciate the bipartisan support that we've had from Congress, both sides of the aisle, both chambers of Congress, fully supporting our efforts to assist Ukraine for the last 10 months, actually even longer than that.
You know what he's talking about? He's talking about sometimes McCarthy. He's talking about Mitch McConnell. He's talking about Liz Cheney. He's talking about Adam Kissinger. He's talking about Mitt Romney. He's talking about all of these corrupt politicians, these corrupt Republicans, these rhinos. That's what they're talking about. They don't count. They do not count. You know what? The Republican Party, this would be really nice if the Republican Party, the GOP, the NRC, if they came up with a rule that if you side with Democrats and it goes against the Republican Party and it goes against the American people, you should automatically be removed from the Republican Party. Liz Cheney, she should never be able to run as a Republican again. Never. Anyone believes that she's part of the Republican Party, they're stupid. And a lot of people they love her, right? They love her. The MSDNC, they all love her over there. Adam Kissinger, crybaby Kissinger, he should never be able to run as a Republican. Never. They should never be able to. If they're going to run for any political office, they should be able to run for a Democrat or independent, but not a Republican. That's the way the Republicans need to stand up and be firm about this, because they're not going to change. They've been there too long. And they've given these people too much power over the American people. Too much power. But here, look at this. This is when he shows up. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the only other person that I've ever known to come and speak before Congress was the Pope. Didn't the Pope do that? If I'm not mistaken, didn't the Pope do that? But why is this dude here in Congress and they're just flocking all over him?
And there
Look
he
at
is.
this.
Yes, that was President Zelenskyy dressed in his traditional fatigues, his what we see him wearing when we see him appearing on television frequently from Ukraine. There he is. You can see a number of members of Congress. Again, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, the Republican leader Mitch McConnell. They're seated on opposite sides of the aisle. And as we say, you can't stress enough, it's one of the rare moments when the two sides are in some agreement. So here he is. He's greeting Vice President Kamala Harris and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So, and receiving what is clearly a warm welcome from both sides of the aisle in the House. And again, they're in the House chamber. These are House members, but also members of the Senate.
I don't care for this. I really don't. Because this dude is showing up for money. The United States of America should not have been involved. The war would have been over with. I don't know how many times I can stress that. And you know what? And I actually know some conservatives that go, we need to stand with Ukraine. We need to stand with Ukraine against Putin. What? I mean, are you not concerned about the loss of life? The war would have been over with already. And Russia knows this. But see, I think this is all a coordinated attack. I think Russia knows that the United States of America is depleting its resources. So does China. This is a coordinated attack. The United States of America is the weakest ever. President Trump built up our military. This wouldn't be happening if President Trump was still in office. Would not be happening. They waited to get President Trump out of the way before they did this. And they're all happy about it right now. They're all excited about it. All right, we are at this point. I have some stuff I want to share with you about Ukraine that I cannot show at all on Facebook and YouTube. I cannot show it. What I'm about to show you with Ukraine, if I showed this on these platforms on here, they would go ballistic. They would, no telling what they would do to my account. No telling, right? Because on these platforms, especially like YouTube, you can't share factual information without them penalizing you. Because ask me how I know, because I've done it. I've shared factual information, not me making up anything, just sharing the information, and they've done it. Same thing on Facebook, right? Because the FBI, and I'm assuming that the FBI, they're still watching and they're still honing in on different people, or either the people at these tech companies have taken it upon themselves to pick up the mantle where the FBI left off and to continue it. That's why, if you know that report that I showed you where the FBI, and before we go, I'm going to tell you the results. The FBI was saying in the report, because you can go find that report on Fox News, they were saying that the information that's being put out there is not true, right? They're saying it's not true when it's all been proven. And it's like they just completely blatantly lying about all of it. I mean, it's just really mind-blowing. They work with the tech companies, and then they tell in the article, they actually were saying that the FBI didn't tell the tech companies what to do. This is what they're saying. This is part of their statement, what they're saying. That they didn't tell the tech companies who to censor or what to censor, any specific accounts or anything like that. All they did was go to the tech companies and said, hey, look, this information might violate your community guidelines. Why in the world would the FBI go to a tech company and tell the tech company what might or might not violate the community guidelines of the company? Why would they do that? They're not in the business of going to tech companies and telling them what might violate their company policies. That's not their job. But that's what the excuse, that's what they're putting out there. And again, if you ask me, they're lying. But here's the result of the poll that I put on Facebook and I put on YouTube. The one on Facebook, it says, okay, there's look like there's a total of 170 votes. Okay, 170 people voted on it. It says 99% says no, they don't trust the FBI. 2 people voted and said, yes, they do trust the FBI. So I'm just assuming that we probably have some trolls on there, but you know, it is what it is. All right. And then on YouTube, we have 5% says, yes, they do trust the FBI. And 95% says no. 95% says no. And that's on YouTube. Now, the people that saying they're trusting the FBI, I'm kind of curious. Are you talking about those that are, you know, still the good men and women? Because I do believe that there are good men and women in the FBI. I guess their hands are tied and they can't do anything. But if you're, okay, I just wanted to get the polls out there before we go. For everyone who doesn't want to get off of YouTube and leave Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing the video. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much for all the support. For those of you that want to see what I'm about to show you from Ukraine, this is out of Ukraine. What I can't show you here, join me over on Rumble and you will be able to see that craziness. Because if that craziness was happening here in America, oh my God, and yes, I'm calling God. Oh my goodness, they would go completely haywire. So join me on Rumble if you want to see it. Oh my goodness, it's going to blow your socks off.